Thanks for having me on. Thanks for having me on, Paul Margaritas. As Matt mentioned, we're good friends. We're real estate investors. We started about 15 years ago, both. And Matt's over here giving me a smile that I almost want to start laughing because we make each other laugh a lot.
I try not to make eye contact.
But we also do a lot of business. And what can I say? You know, I got started in this area. I don't want to, jump in where Justin's going to ask us the questions, but. You want me to just jump in? Yeah.
Get in there.
Give us an overview.
Get in there. Why not?
I started 15 years ago, and the reason I got started in Trenton in Mercer County is because I don't remember who the author was, but I believe it was called The ABCs of Real Estate Investing. And it was some very basics, which I still hold and I still carry forward and I still apply, like today, 15 years later. And one of the rules was start in your own backyard.
Yeah.
So like literally within 15 minutes of where you live, when you get started real estate investing, start in your own backyard. So, I listened to that. I did, because if I didn't listen to that and I started venturing out at that time, like this is 2004, when people were like jumping into Arizona and Florida and California, and they're like, oh, why don't you go buy a condo in Arizona? And I was like, what? No, I was like, I got to stick within my backyard. Yeah. So, because of the price points, I actually got started in Ewing, which is, literally right next door to Trenton. And that's where I got started and why I got started in that area.
Why? Can you tell everyone, why is it so important to invest close to where you are? What are the advantages?
Yeah, so especially when you get started, you don't know what you're doing.
True.
Plain out and simple. Yeah. You really don't know what
people
you're doing.
People don't want to hear that.
Because if you knew what you're doing, you wouldn't be getting started. You wouldn't, that's how you learn what you're doing, by experience, right? So you don't have any experience, so you really don't know what you're doing. As much education as you may have, you might have read books for the last 3, 4, 5 years, I don't care. But if you don't have any experience, you really don't know what you're doing. So when you first get out there, you're going to be doing everything. You're going to be renting out your own property. You're going to be marketing, advertising, going and taking showings and showing people the house to rent it out. And, if there's a silly little repair, you may be the first one that's going to be stopping there and checking it out and seeing what's going on. And if it's something above your skill set, you may fix it. Or if you don't know what you're doing, you might call a plumber, electrician, or a roofer or whatever. But you can't do all that efficiently and effectively if you're further than like 15 or 20 minutes away. It just doesn't make sense. And most likely when you get started, you probably are doing something else because you're not making any money because you're just getting started.
Right.
So, you're probably got either a full-time job or you're doing something else part-time to make money. So your time is, somewhat limited. Yeah. You're going to be there a lot. Yeah. So it's got to be close.
I agree with everything Paul said. And for the longest time, we landlorded ourselves. Managed ourselves. I did a lot of showing. I've done more showings than I care to remember. I know you have too. I'm not lucky enough to be handy, so I haven't done many repairs. I don't know. Did you ever do many repairs on your properties back in the day? I wish I did, but I'd probably saved myself a lot of money back in the day. I would have stopped myself from getting robbed in the beginning by slapjack contractors.
Yeah, yes and no. Like I've been on the side. I've done little jobs, like not that first house that I got, but a couple houses later, the first house I got with Stephen Mulderry, who's a partner of mine. We own quite a bit of units together. He's a contractor.
Yeah.
So the first house that we bought together, I was like, didn't have a job, and I was like, all right, well, I'm working with Steve for the 6 weeks while we're renovating this house. And that's what I did. I threw on work boots for 6 weeks, worked with Steve and his helper.
Got in there.
And the three of us renovated this house. I mean, I was like standing hardwood floors, never done that in my life, never want to do it again.
Yeah.
And did a lot of stuff. And I can't say I'm a contractor or I have that skill set, but.
Aren't you glad that you did that, though?
Oh, absolutely. So, huge point. I think what you're getting at is even if you're not doing it, you got to know what to expect from contractors, like what's good quality work and what isn't good quality work. And unless you have some experience and some know-how with your own hands, you kind of don't know that.
I've learned that. Yeah, I've learned what good quality work looks like, and because I've seen a lot of bad quality work on my own properties and other people's properties too. So I've learned what it looks like and what it should cost and what it shouldn't cost by doing a lot of it myself. So, any questions from the audience yet?
I haven't seen anything yet.
No. Okay.
Cool. If you guys have questions, I've got questions. If you got questions for these guys, experienced landlords in Mercer County, we're talking about Mercer County, New Jersey, Trenton, New Jersey, investing here, landlording. Any questions at all, hit us up on YouTube comments and we'll get your questions in. So I just want to go back to the doing it, because a lot of the people, a lot of the books, Bigger Pockets right now, they all say work on your business, not in your business. And I agree when you got to a certain point, but in the beginning, right, and you're just trying to figure it all out, like how do you figure out what should I be doing and what should I be hiring, especially if I don't have any money?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
go ahead.
All right, I'll take it.
Yeah, take it.
So, do what you can do.
Yeah.
You know, if you've got the time, you know, you want to learn the business, do what you can do and don't do what you can't do. You know, don't try to do something that you can't do. Don't put yourself up on a 2-story roof and you know, try to rip and put a new roof on.
I got this. I got it.
If you're clumsy and you can't walk and chew gum at the same time, you know? Like, you don't want to be on a 2-story roof, you know? So, you know, I say that, you know, sarcastically, but I mean, seriously, if you can do it, do it. Or if you can't do it, you know, learn how to rent out a property, learn how to market and advertise it. You know,
I would add on to that. I would say do what you're great at, right? I'm a good salesperson, and so I've always been good at leasing units because I'm good at following up. I'm good at showing the rosy colored glasses and the best picture. Like, hey, look how great the laundry room is here, and look, you can see the bodega out the window and the kitchen and stuff like that. You know, like I can sell, and so I would do when I would show units. Normally, the people that I'd show them to would turn in an application. And so I was not good at being handy. So for those watching, you're just getting started, if you're handy, then allow yourself to be a little handy in the beginning, or at least to be a little more tighter on your contractors to understand the work that needs to happen. If you're a better driver, you're actually a very good driver of, like, no nonsense, get fuck, it's my channel, get shit done. I can say shit, right? So you're good at making shit happen, right? Yeah. Because you're an executor, right? Not like in a bad way, but you get it done, right? Yeah. So allow yourself to, if that's you watching, be a project manager of your projects, and maybe let somebody else who's a better salesperson than you are sell the units. Or we made the mistake of letting my wife run our books, and my wife is not good at finances. She's not good at QuickBooks and Excel and stuff like that. She's not, doesn't have that accounting background, so she really did not do a good job with her books. So the mistake that we made was putting tasks that we were not great at in front of ourselves. So I would figure out what your greatness is when you first get started and do just that, and sub out as much as you can to other people as quickly as you can.
Question from the crowd. Kwame Barton says, hey guys, great program. Where can you find multifamilies in Trenton? Or did the DeRosa Group buy all of them?
They're all gone.
We bought them all.
There's a lot of multifamily.
No, there's a ton.
There's on 3 of them on Friday.
There you go. So we didn't buy them all. There's a ton out there, Kwame, and it depends on how big of a multi you're looking for. Like if you're talking about like
small
50, 60, 70, 80 units, I don't recommend buying stuff that big in Trenton because it can be overpriced, or in Mercer County, really, it can be overpriced. It will likely have an element of affordable housing, which is a whole nother way to landlord in that, because there's certain financial criteria that come into that. And I just think there's other markets for big multifamily in the U.S. outside of New Jersey. I'll be straight. But if you're looking for small multi, like 2, 4, 5, 10 units, stuff like that, Paul and I both own units in that range that are very, very lucrative, that you can pick up. And you can find that, by talking to local brokers. If you want to email us at info@derosagroup.com, that's info@derosagroup.com. We're actually selling some small multis in Trenton that are, managed by us, turnkeyed by us, not super high jacked up crazy prices. So email us at info@derosagroup.com, and we can send you some stuff that we've owned for a while, and we're just only selling because the investors that are in it with us want to get out. So if you want to email us at that email address, we can give you more information.
Besides calling Matt, what are some ways that you guys have found deals in Trenton?
Wholesalers, guys are out there marketing, advertising, finding deals, locking them up. And
I bought stuff off of the MLS the last
I bought
couple
a lot
years.
of stuff off the MLS.
It doesn't last for long.
Years,
it doesn't last for long. If it's a good deal, it's not going to make it very long. So you gotta monitor.
Relationships.
Relationships. Paul and I buy a lot of bank-owned properties. Properties that need a lot of work because we're both full-time active, right? So to Kwame and everybody else watching, if you're a full-time active investor, you can handle, or you should be able to set yourself up to handle a dilapidated property that you can buy, renovate, rent out, refinance, repeat, which is what Paul's done a lot of in his business. And he's going to be talking about in Princeton next week. But if you're not full-time, then time is going to be your enemy in this business, and you need to just invest in turnkey assets that someone else is utilizing their time to run for you, because it takes a lot of time to run a crew and to run contractors and to make sure they're doing what they say they're supposed to be doing and stuff like that. So I think that it depends on your situation as well, on what you should be getting yourselves into.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah. I mean, there's so many ways to find properties. You just got to get in the market.
But also the kind of properties you get, right? But MLS, wholesalers, relationships, going to RIA clubs. I bought stuff off of people at RIA. When I first met you, one of the first deals I did was I bought something that you had through a wholesale or through a client that you were managing for or something like that.
What's two-family on Hamilton?
The two-family on Hamilton and the other one on Dresden.
Yeah.
It was a package deal that we bought.
Yeah.
And his Paulie was like, listen, if you don't buy these deals, I'm going to buy them. So he's like, you either buy them or I'm going to. That was
I was like the realtor, or it was like
realtor, wholesaler, right.
Whatever. And at that time, I think I don't want to speak for Matt, but both of us were still learning how to raise money. We were raising money. I certainly wasn't raising as much money then as I am now. So I wasn't able to buy every single thing that I found, and sometimes, hey, Matt was able to buy it, he bought it, and vice versa. Maybe I was, able to buy something.
I'll take that.
Got it?
Yeah.
So then talk about, in a lot of industries, there's competitors. You're buying and you're buying. Why are you guys not fighting over the same house? Why are you collaborating rather than fighting?
I beat Matt 9 out of 10 times twice.
He does. Yeah. No, we don't. Well, first of all, I don't believe in like adversarial competition like that. I mean, it's only friendly stuff. But Paulie and I have only been on the same deal one or two times, I think. And then we ended up working together on it a few times. We've done a few flips together and partnered up on a few things together and stuff like that. But it's a big wide world out there. And I think to think that, well, he and I are going to butt heads on deals because he and I are both landlords. Well, first of all, there's like a couple of hundred other landlords active in Trenton that I can clearly butt into elsewhere. And because he and I are friends, we're active. I know he's got integrity. There's been times where we were looking at it. I think we might have been looking at a deal, and one of us ended up backing away from it or something like that because we knew the other one was on it out of respect. So that happens more often than not. Kwame is blowing us up here with another question. Due to gentrification in Philadelphia, studies show that property values in Camden are going up in value. I've actually seen this. I'm not active in Camden, but that Camden waterfront's starting to look a lot nicer than it used to, man.
I'm not active in Camden, but as you know, I'm active in Gloucester City, which is right next to Camden.
And are you seeing increases in rents?
We were pleasantly surprised from the rents that we were receiving based on, because when we got into that market a couple years ago, we didn't really know exactly what rents we were going to get, until we started getting them. So we were happy with the rents. We were happy overall with the type of clientele, the type of renters that we're getting, and like any expansion, growth, new market, we've had a little bit of challenges as well too, but we see that I can't predict the future. None of us can predict the future, but I can say that I was happy with the values that we've received. When we had to refinance.
Yeah.
So like Matt said, that BRRRR method, that buy, renovate, rent out, refinance, repeat. So when we got to the refinance, we had to appraise, and we were happy with the appraisals overall. Mm-hmm. There was the commercial stuff. We were actually like, ooh, really? Like the commercial brokers.
With the residential stuff,
what this is worth. But the residential stuff, we were happy, and I don't think we've been there long enough to know, but we've seen Camden area.
So Kwame's next follow up was about Trenton following the same lead that Camden did. I don't think Trenton's not a suburb of Philadelphia. Camden is. No. Trenton is a good, they call it bedroom community, where you can commute to New York, you can commute to Philadelphia from it, but it's got its own economy here. I mean, Central Jersey, Mercer County, has employers, maybe not as many as there should be in Trenton, but there's an economy here in Mercer County, and there's also the commutability to the cities on both sides. So I think Trenton has a lot to offer. I think Trenton finally has a good leader in place with Reed Gusiora as the mayor. He's doing the right things, and there's some new. They just got approval to expand that Roebling Lofts project, the apartment building they built over there by the train station. They got a joint liquor license. So they're going to put a bunch of like bars and open air taverns and stuff like that all along that train track thing right there. So that's going to become like a little Inner Harbor Baltimore, like a little entertainment hub with like restaurants and places for people to go and stuff.
Millennial Village.
Yeah, well, Millennial Village. When that hits, that's going to drastically change what's happening here. So I think Trenton has a long way to go up. It's definitely still has its challenges. I'm not rosy-colored glass in this place. As you could say. I mean, what do you think?
I think the biggest thing that Trenton needs that I've heard is, and I don't think any of us are old enough to, go back even as far, but when people used to come here for a reason, they had restaurants, a lot of those restaurants have gone, new restaurants now have come in, right? But they had, the Sears, right? Like there's like stores that people older than us, we're on our 40s or whatever we are, right? I'm in my 40s.
They say the Quaker Bridge Mall killed this place. When they built the Quaker Bridge Mall, before the Quaker Bridge Mall, before the Quaker Bridge Mall, this city was where people would go to shop, right? Yeah. Because there's nowhere. Because before that was all cornfields, right? So before that was built, this was where you went. There was a Sears and a bunch of like window, retail shopping and stuff like that. And that all went away when they built the Quaker Bridge Mall because it was easy to get to with an enormous parking lot around it and everything like that. So, and that wasn't that, that was in our lifetime. Napoleon and I weren't investing here at that time, but in our lifetime, like in the 80s, that was going on. So
are you guys still positive or negative about the future of investing in Trenton? Would you recommend someone who's just getting into investing, do you think they should be looking in Trenton, or should they be going to Gloucester City or Philadelphia or somewhere else?
I think Trenton's a great spot. I have a lot of, money in here, and,
it's good to believe in it, yeah.
Yeah, no, I do believe in it because I see that regardless of the changes and the different, tenants that you have, there's a big tenant base. I'll say that. Yeah. So if you're going to be a landlord, go to a spot where there's a big tenant base. So there's a huge tenant base here, and like Matt said earlier, that the new mayor in town is actually making some action and some good things are hopefully going to come around. And just seeing larger projects like those Roebling Lofts, and seeing some big money that will come in and do some things. I think it's a great spot to start. The price points are great for somebody to start. You might not have a couple $1 million sitting in the bank. So, you need to get started with something that that you can afford to make mistakes on also. Make your mistakes on the little small row house in Trenton. Yep. And, not the 50-unit apartment complex that you want to buy.
I agree. It's a great place to start. It's where I got started. It's where you got started. You and I have both, it's like both of our portfolios are Trenton and other places, right? So we both have expanded beyond Trenton, but it's not that we're ever trying to get out of Trenton because it's a great spot to invest. As you said, for all the reasons you said, but you need to have great oversight. You can't just buy in any neighborhood of Trenton. You cannot accept any tenant that applies for a unit. You cannot accept any story that a tenant gives you. So with the right oversight and with the right business plan, Trenton can be very successful. But I've seen people lose their shirt in this town simply by buying in the wrong neighborhoods or putting the wrong tenants in their properties.
It's like Kiyosaki says, you can have a great deal, and if you're not a smart enough good investor, that great deal become a bad deal. Yeah, right.
It's a great deal with the wrong plan.
You need to be a good investor, right, and a smart investor, and you can take a decent deal and turn it into a great deal, right? Yeah. If you're not a good investor and you don't know what you're doing, and you're haphazard and you're not educating yourself, you're not getting experience, you could turn a great deal into a shit deal.
Sure.
You know?
Yes, you can.
I use that language.
Yes, you can. No, you can. So, yeah, I did it first. So.
Give me like a solid mistake or two that you either you had or you see people making that really trips them up, that hurts their project.
Yeah. Specifically to the project?
No, for investing. So
I'll give you a couple quick tips. So the first quick tip is, if it's a new contractor that you're working with, only give him one job. Don't give him two jobs, right? That's how, I met my contractors that have been working for me for 10 years now, because I had to fire another guy. And the first job
you and I both using that guy.
Yeah, exactly.
You know the guy. Let's not say his name, but you know the guy that you and I are talking about.
Yeah.
I had him on 2-3 jobs. You had him on 2 or 3 jobs.
I put him on 2 jobs.
Another
never had him on a job.
But Rick had him on a couple of jobs too. We kind of got together like this and talked and realized that between just the 3 of us, he was on 7 jobs, and then he also probably was working for other people too at the time. So this guy might have had upwards of 10 projects, and he was maybe a 3.
For about 2 or 3, maybe.
Yeah, 3 or 4 crew contractor, and he was just running around taking deposits from everybody. You just,
That's tip number 1.
Yeah,
right, as far as
one job.
The second tip I'll say is start as if you want to own 200 units in 10 years. Run your business from day one like you own 200 units.
That's a great tip.
So, for me, what I didn't do is, have the right, I was doing stuff on Excel spreadsheets, my income and expenses, talking about the books. You mentioned your wife.
Yep.
We were keeping good track, but it was how many properties can you buy? Where Excel spreadsheets, it's if you're only going to buy 1 or 2 properties, you don't need to go get QuickBooks, right?
Right.
You can do it on an Excel spreadsheet, keep track of your income and expenses, no problem. But if you want to own 100 or 200 units, you better have, whether it's QuickBooks or whether it's, Appfolio property management software that we use, or whatever that it is that you're using, build it.
That's brilliant.
Like locks. We didn't use a master lock system until about 50 units in, and I was like, this is insane.
And I can imagine the check you had to write to go back and master lock everything else.
We did it we started doing it when we were turning them over.
Yeah.
But if I had started setting up a master lock system from day one, it would have been a lot easier. I wouldn't have had to run around and meet the contractor, give him a key, and then guess what? Most contractors forget to give you the key back, and then you need it 3 months later, and you're like, oh, where's the key? Oh, I wasn't keeping track of it. And
what you said was brilliant, though, about operating, just running your business as if it is the business you want it to be. Because there was one landlord, we sold a complex in Ewing that had a master lock system like that. We sold it to a guy that had 500 units. He was not on a master lock system when he bought our complex, but he saw what we were using and he liked it so much that he went and rolled it out to all 500 of these units. His property manager told me that they paid tens of thousands to roll this out on 500 units in labor and material cost. And he said the owner really wishes he had thought of it, from day one and that. So run it as if it is the business that you want it to be, not that it's going to grow into be that one day. Run it now as if it's that. So that's a great tip. Thank you.
Yeah.
Cool. You have one for us?
What Paul said. But
as always,
no, I think that don't try and do. And I'm like this is I learned this by doing the wrong thing. Don't try and do more than just a few things to be successful in this business. We got in and we were buying commercial properties. We were flipping. We were doing a few wholesales here and there. We were negotiating short sales during the crash. We were buying rentals and that. And it caused us to run in a lot of different directions at once. And I found the people that have been extremely successful, and I got more successful the more I focused on what I was doing. And one thing I've seen you do is just stay in your lane, man. That's it. And if you stay in your lane and just focus on a thing, then you're going to be successful. And I wrote this down. It was my own words, but I wrote it down because it really hit me. Like, how many fix and flips do you think Sam Zell's done? Sam Zell owns 40,000 units of right. He's probably done 0 fix and flips in his entire life because he buys multifamily. That's what he does. Toll Brothers is a fix and flip company on steroids, right? They probably don't do that many other things aside from that. That's what they do, right? And I've been successful when I decided to stay in my lane, focus on raising capital from investors and putting in rental deals. That's when I'm successful, when I do that. When I venture off of that plan, that's when I'm not. I tend to screw it up.
Quick piggyback on that. Yeah, it's like for years, all I said, and I still say it, I just do 2 things. I find deals and I raise money. You know, so I was very focused, like Matt said, about like what kind of deals, what areas I would buy in, what areas I wouldn't buy in. You know, people always try to say, oh, you know, it's okay of an area. Nope, not buying in that area.
And have the courage to say no. I mean, because that shiny nickel can look sure shiny, man. You're like, well, what about Phoenix, Arizona? What about, why not? Look at the cash flow. Look at this, look at that. I could probably put that together. No, I'm not buying in Phoenix. It's not what I do, Right. And as much as it might seem intriguing and a nice breath of fresh air to try on something new, it's actually a distraction that will pull you away from your goals, And unfortunately, I've chased a lot of shiny nickels, and I know they always fall down the drain, and I go with them,
That is a shiny nickel chaser.
Yeah, that is. But I stopped. But I'm doing that now elsewhere in my life because I know that that's my personality that likes new things. Yeah. So now I try new stuff. I'm going to start working on getting my pilot's license because that's a new thing to do. Nice. That's a new fun thing. So instead of me trying to buy something completely stupid like a self-storage center or something like that I know nothing about.
Buy a plane.
Right. No. I'm right. I'll just come up by plane. No, but I'll stick with raising money and buying apartment buildings. I'll stick with that, and then I'll go and take my son to the zoo or go have an experience or whatever to serve the side of me that wants change and variety. And I was getting my change and variety through my business, and that was not working long term.
Right. It's a beautiful tip.
I'll get it elsewhere. Yeah. Get it somewhere else. Don't get it in your business. Make your business plain vanilla, man.
Yeah, it's not, I heard this. I heard this from Steve Chattel. I'll throw a shout out to him. Who, he said there's nothing sexy about building a business. And I always kind of knew that. It really hit me over the last few years. It was exciting for many years. It's not as exciting anymore, right? Yeah. I'm serious. When I say that, it's just like making money and building a business, isn't, there's an excitement to it, but there's also, like Matt said, it's like a plain vanilla, you just every day you're like,
you know what? Because I've been on the roller coaster of business, and it's fun when you're going up like this, and hey, this is going to be great, and all that. But you know what? After a while, the ups and downs of a business that's all over the place gets old, man.
Well, if you're doing your business right, you got systems in place, you got processes in place, you got teams doing it. It should be boring. The exciting part is the startup phase, right? The first 3-4 years as you're going up.
But when I was younger, I wanted to fly by the seat of my pants in my business. Yeah. And in my age, now that I got more battle scars, I don't want that. Yeah. I want to predict it. I want to know. I want to look at my watch and know when things are going to happen. It's. I don't want that variety. I'll get my variety. I'll go travel or go have an adventure with my kids for that variety.
When you said you were going to get your pilot's license, I was thinking in the future how Justin won't have to be booking, cars and driving across the country anymore. He's like, hey, just jump in the. Yeah. Wait, Matt's flying.
That's intentional. You got it off.
Right. Let's talk about some of the fun stuff that you guys have coming up.
Yes, we should. Let's talk. Let's do a few plugs. If you are local in New Jersey or Philadelphia or even New York, you need to come see Paul and I speak on June 20th at the Hyatt Regency on Route 1 in Princeton. Yeah. These two guys will be there, Eric and Justin, because they run a phenomenal real estate meeting under the SJ RIA umbrella, which to tell Paul and I actually started that group.
Started it and passed it.
Handed the umbrella. You guys, they're doing a way better job. Way better job than you and I.
Supposed to be.
But we wouldn't be here without you guys.
They took it to the next level. Yeah. So Paul and I are going to be speaking there on June 20th at 6 p.m. Next Thursday, June 20th. Be there. Where am I speaking next week?
Next Tuesday. In Lexington.
In Lexington, Kentucky. Yes. So if you're in the state of Kentucky, you need to come to Lexington.
Don't bring your racehorse.
You've got people driving in from Chicago to hear you speak.
I know. Guys coming up from Chicago for that.
We got Lexington, Kentucky. Just leave a comment if you're in Kentucky and you need the info. Leave a comment. We'll put it in the comments.
It's the Bluegrass RIA. I think is what it's called.
They are on Facebook. You've got to be a member to see the info, but leave a comment.
It's called Bluegrass. They can Google Bluegrass RIA. Okay.
Absolutely.
And then on June 26th, I'm speaking at the Diversified Investment Group meeting in Philadelphia, DIG, which I'm super excited at because I first got started going to a DIG meeting going up on 20 years ago is when I first got started in real estate. I walked into a DIG meeting meeting and met a couple of guys and said, hey, do you invest in, do you ever heard of Rich Dad Poor Dad? His game, Cash Flow. I'm looking for some people to play Cash Flow with. So me and a couple of guys ended up just playing Cash Flow in the basement of my house. When I first got started, upwards of 20 years ago. So.
Wow.
Come out to the meeting. That's where Matt and I first met, over 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And, we didn't probably have two nickels to rub together then.
Nope.
And, we didn't have the experience,
We were eager.
education, or the excess cash. That's right.
We hung
Yeah,
out.
we're basically going to take this 30-minute conversation that we just had and expand it over an hour and a half and dig in on all the details, the war stories, the highs, the lows.
Audience participation.
It's going to be you got questions for these guys, come out, ask questions. And we're going to really talk about how to start and build a business right here in New Jersey.
Cool.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for putting this together. Quick
Absolutely.
impromptu.
We're happy to
Thank
have
you guys
you
for watching.
Thank you.
Don't forget to subscribe to this channel and like this video. You could even give it a little share if you know somebody who's local to New Jersey or Philadelphia that wants to come check us out. Thanks for watching, guys.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. What do we say?
Give it up. Give it up.
High five.
High five. High five. High five. Always good. Have a good